Hello everyone, and today we're back into another top 5! Woohoo! Well, it's technically a top 8, because we're going to be ranking all of the variations to the game. So, we're going to be ranking all the Varis to worst to best. So, yeah, let's get right into it. But before we do, giveaway time! So, I've had this GSA Vari in the box for a while, and it's actually brawny nimble. This one can actually be used in PvP. But how do you get this GSA Vari? How you get it? So this is how you get it. If you go into the comment section below and say GSA Vari in the comments, I will give you a number in the comments, and then once Atlantean City comes out, I'm going to put all those numbers in the random number generator, and whoever wins gets the GSA Vari. So, yeah. Giveaway. Have a shot to win a GSA Vari. So, let's get into the top 8. Here it is. So, going into number 8, this is probably the worst variation in the game, and it's Servalin. And the thing is with Servalin isn't bad. It is not a bad Loomian. It's actually pretty good, honestly. I mean, Boast, Vengeance, has very good melee attack, and it actually has very good speed, which makes Servalin pretty good. But the thing is with Servalin is that if you don't get that Boast boost, it's kind of hard to use. And even if you do get it, Borok and Trumbull kind of still outclass it. Like, it isn't bad. It's pretty powerful. Megachomp can cause flinches, which can make it really deadly. But compared to all the other Varis, it's just Servalin doesn't work as well as all the other variations. And if you get a minus Boast, like in this clip, yeah, that damage immediately goes down to the point that you do almost nothing to an Oxydrake. So, yeah, Servalin is good and it works pretty well, but it's definitely the worst variation at the game. And it makes sense, it's a normal typing, which does put it down quite a bit. So, yeah, Servalin's number 8, and let's get on to number 7. So into number 7, this one is very questionable because it actually is going to be Carolyn. And I know what you're thinking. You're putting one of the hardest hitting melee attackers at number 7? Well, yes. Despite this with hasty and with great coverage, it even has healing. I mean, this thing has so many pros. It hits really hard and is a great wall breaker on the melee side. Like, it is so good. But there is one reason why it's at number 7. And I think this clip is going to show you. I think this clip will show you on why it's at number 7. Let's just play the clip. I'm going to slow it down, and here it is. The opposing Nevermare avoided the attack. That's the problem. It misses. And it misses a lot. It missed 2 in a row in this scenario. Although, that's the reason why it's number 7. Although, I cannot put it at the very lowest because it actually does some nice damage. Like, this is a +6 Tundrolin. So, it does do a lot of damage. So, it definitely does deserve to be higher than Servalin, but no more higher than that. If you can't hit the Loomian, it's not worth using. Although, it is very good when it does hit the Loomian. So that's why it's number 7. Let's head into number 6. So, on number 6 in the list, it's going to be kind of surprising because it actually is Venolin. And Venolin can be used a couple different ways, actually. It can be used as a melee attacker or a range attacker. Either or works. And it pretty much is a gift Vesperatu. So it is easily replaceable by a lot of other spirit types in the game. But there are a couple reasons why Venolin is good. It hits harder than Vesperatu. It is faster than Vesperatu. It can hit to clips. And it also has Shadow Sprint priority. So it's a lot better than what people make it out to be. This Loomian is actually really good. Although, with the same reasoning behind it, that's the reason it's only number 6 and not higher. Plus the top 5 Varis are just a lot better overall. But Venolin is underrated in my opinion, and I feel like it is a lot better than what people make it out to be. I think it's a solid alternative to Vesperatu. If you don't want to use Vesperatu, use Venolin. And Venolin is faster than a couple of... Like, the thing is, Venolin is faster than a few of its main threats, which does make it really dangerous. It's very frail, but it doesn't matter because it's a hard-hitting beast. So on number 5 at the list, it's actually going to be a Buzzling. And the reason why Buzzling is in the top 5 is mainly because of Vigorous. Vigorous and also its high speed. 101 base speed is a pretty good base speed. With Vigorous, it is amazing. It has amazing coverage. It can barter its volcanic ashes away. And since it has great coverage, it can hit a lot of Loomians in the current meta. Like Bug, Poison, and Air. That can hit so many threats. And Buzzling hits really hard once it gets its Vigorous boost. Once Buzzling gets its Vigorous boost, it's almost impossible to stop. You either have to get something that's a melee tank, or you have to get something that outspeeds it, which is not very easy. Buzzling is definitely one of the best Varis in the game. The reason why it's only at number 5, though, is because it does have no way to heal itself, and the burn does eventually chip it down. But Buzzling is amazing. Buzzling is probably the first great Variolution on this list. And if there's 5 Varis out of the 8 which are great, that's when you know the Vari evolutions are very good. So yeah, Buzzling at number 5 is really good for it. I mean, look what it does to the Stratosaur. It destroys it. So let's head into number 4. So at number 4, it is actually going to be Zeppelin. And I might be ranking Zeppelin a little too high, but I really love Zeppelin. I mean, 123 range attack with Turbulent makes your Resonate do so much damage. It's a very solid provoke user. It has ground coverage, which is amazing. When Resonate with Turbulent makes Zeppelin hit so hard. Like, look what it does to this Vesperatu that comes in. This Vesperatu gets absolutely O-code, which is amazing. And it can also give Zeppelin a +1 without even using a piece of mind. It has pretty solid melee bulk. The only reason why it's not in the top 3 has no way to recover its health, and it's kind of frail on the range side. But it hits so hard it has to be in the top 5. So, yeah. Zeppelin at number 4. I think it's a great spot for Zeppelin. I mean, like, its hard-hitting capabilities just make it so freaking good. And 87 base speed is solid. 87 isn't amazing, but when combined with a Baffle user, this can be amazing. So, yeah. Zeppelin. It's an air type that is actually really good. So, yeah. And plus Provoke definitely helps it out a lot. So, number 3. Number 3 is gonna be Venolin. And Venolin is not in the top 2. And the big reason is because I think number 2 is a little bit better. But let's talk about Venolin. It's probably the best range tank in the game. I mean, it has really good attack. Like 101 ranged attack for a ranged tank is really good. It pretty much counters any poison type. It hits ground coverage, which makes it hit fire types and other poison types, which just makes it really good. And its range bulk is so high that it's so hard to chip. You really cannot chip a Venolin on the range side. Like, it's so hard to do. And it isn't unstoppable, but it does have Poison, it does have Charade, it does have Rejuvenate, which just makes Venolin so good. I mean, there's a reason why Venolin is the best ranged tank in the game. I mean, this Guardrone does absolutely nothing. And Guardrone's a really high range attack, too. So, the fact that even this Guardrone can't do anything just says a lot. Icy Golden comes in, lower its speed, and Venolin hits pretty hard, too. Venolin can hit very hard. Like, look what it does to this Wintrix. Look what it does to this Wintrix. It does half of a Wintrix's health. And Wintrix is solid bulk, so it doesn't mean anything. It may be a ranged tank, but it can actually have a lot of offensive pressure. And that's why Venolin is in the top 3. Great range tank that has really solid attacking stats. Although, it's not quite in the top 2 because the top 2 Loomians are basically broken. The top 2 Varis are basically broken as heck. So, into number 2. Number 2 is gonna be Wrestling. Now, okay, it has one of the highest melee attack stats in the game. 130 is like 4th. And if you combine that with the fact that he's a brawler typing with Ace, it's just unstoppable. It has solid speed tier. 78 is a great speed tier for Wrestling. Has bulk up, has buck up, and it has fire coverage to hit spirit types. It's just amazing. And look, and honestly, I only needed to use one Wrestling clip. Because Wrestling swept this match. Wrestling swept. And it's actually pretty bulky too. It has a lot of good bulk on both sides because it has a very high health stat and above average defenses. So it can actually live quite a few hits. Quite a few super effective ones too. This is a really, really good Loomian. It's not number one because it can't recover its own health. But even then, you don't really need it most of the time. Wrestling just sweeps everything. Like if you get a couple bulk ups off, it's almost impossible to stop. Especially if you get it with the stretch. If you get this with the stretch, then it really, really is impossible to stop. So yeah, with Ace and 130 base attack, makes Wrestling one of the best in-game sweepers on the melee side. One of the best melee attackers in the entire game. So yep, Wrestling's number 2. Let's see who number 1 is. So at the number 1 list, the best Vari is Tundralin. Now, I think this was completely obvious. I mean, he was number 1 on the top 5 most broken Loomians. So of course he's going to rank number 1 in the top 8 Varis. And there's not too much to say that already need to be said. Bulk up, body crash, ice hammer, resilience with rejuvenate. Yeah, it's pretty much impenetrable on the melee side. And if you hit him, he hits harder because of body crash. And that's the thing. Tundralin is so scary. And it does have enough bulk that it can actually tank some range hits too. So it actually isn't unstoppable on the range side. Like, your aren't roses and perfect on the range side too. Like, this Illuminati doesn't even do half health with a neutral range attack, which just shows a lot about its bulk. But its melee defense is so high, it makes it hit so freaking hard. And that's what makes Tundralin so good. But not only that, it has Rejuvenate. It can recover its health, and that's the big reasons that number 1. That with Resilience on top of it makes it unstoppable to beat. The only way you can probably beat Tundralin is with a super effective range move. And you gotta be careful too. If you have a super effective range move, Body Crash can still chunk your health a lot. So you gotta be very careful when you're battling Tundralin. Because once its melee defense gets so high, it's pretty much game over from that rate. And this melee tank can become a reverse sweeper in the matter of a couple turns. So that's why Tundralin's number 1. And yeah, I think there's no questions about it whatsoever. So here's Tundralin, the best Variation in the game. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this top 8. All your opinions will be different. Tell me your top 8 in the comments. And also, if you text GSA Vari, you have a chance to win a GSA Vari. So yeah, expect that at Atlantean. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see y'all all later. Bye-bye!